Fisher. He's the Director of Sales and Marketing at Healdsburg Senior Living. A little bit about Tony. Tony's been with Healdsburg Senior Living for 6 years now. Prior to that, he spent most of his career working in the senior living arena in positions such as a regional manager, sales marketing trainer, and director of acquisitions and new construction. Tony grew up in a foster home with his brother and spent many hours caring for his aging foster grandmother. Growing up around older adults spurred a passion in him that has lasted his whole life and has given his life meaning. In the last couple of years, Tony has spent countless hours instituting the Alive Inside program at Healdsburg Senior Living. Tony is here today to share an amazing adventure that he and Rob went on. Please extend a warm welcome to my good friend Tony Fisher.
Morning, everyone. So the original plan was to have me present, but I'm a scaredy cat to do all this kind of stuff. So I coerced Robert Matthews is the administrator of Healdsburg Senior Living. He's been there like 11 plus years. So he helped me kind of put some pictures together. So we're just going to kind of share this and pass the mic back and forth. How this all started actually wasn't in my office like this picture is showing. Do we want to dim the lights a little bit? Is it easier to see?
The video has come time.
Oh, okay.
To see you, it's either we see you or we see the videos.
Well, we'll know it.
All right. Okay. You got it.
So last August, at the end of the month, we had a tour come from China, and we probably had. Has any other senior living properties had groups come through over the years? Anyone? Yeah. So they've been coming through for a few years now because the industry doesn't exist in China, and they have what they call the silver tsunami coming. And so they're here kind of looking at the model that we have to see how they would potentially duplicate that. But it's interesting to see that not much has happened in all those years. So they came, we toured, I took them through the garden area, and as a lot of you know, we have a big, it's about a 10,000 square foot garden. We've got goats and chickens and beehives and worm bins and greenhouse and everything. And they liked what they saw as far as the campus and how it was laid out. But we're fortunate that we're on nearly 9 acres, and so we have a lot of room to play there. And so they liked that model, and so they were interested in talking to us about being a part of this project in China. So we met with them the next morning at the Hilton, and they showed us the project, and we'll kind of take you through some slides from there. But this is Sheila Onquest, of course, she's the former president of Section on Aging, and Julianne from Homestead. And so they came to do a send-off for me. They show up in my office in these costumes, and let's sing high beer, and they brought fortune cookies, and so that was, I thought it was a good way to start this. I was hoping she would be here today, because that would be a surprise. Some interesting facts here. I was going to start out with a couple of facts that are kind of interesting about China. How many people have been to China?
Wow.
One? So it's a pretty fascinating place. I've actually talked to quite a few people that have been there traveling for business or just checking out the country. 100 million people in China live on less than $1 a day. Isn't that crazy? 100 million. China executes the death penalty more than 4 times as the rest of the world combined. Fortune cookies are not made as a traditional Chinese custom. They were invented in the early 1900s in San Francisco. China uses 45 billion chopsticks per year. One more. Reincarnation is forbidden in China without government permission. So, anyway, so you want to start the slides? Let's see where we're at.
I should qualify. There's apparently a fairly new program called PowerPoint, which I just became aware of last night. So I apologize for the rudimentary nature of this presentation, but hopefully it will be something understandable. So some further stuff about China. Prior to August, I was aware of China, but I really had no interest in their population or some of the facts that we should probably be aware of. But having been there now and taking a little bit more of an interest in what's going on in China, some facts. So the United States, and these are facts as of this morning off of Worldometers, which you can Google, 300 million plus residents in the U.S. Comparatively to China, 1.3 billion. And interestingly, which I didn't notice, the land mass of China and the U.S. is roughly the same. And so that would be like standing in this spot and 3 other people right next to me. It's 4 times. And so, you know, the population density, which I've always understood about China, is huge. And you may have heard about the 4-2-1 principle. I don't know that I was aware of this before August of 2015, but in China with the one-child policy that was in place for a long time, which is now becoming more relaxed, it came down to one child taking care of 2 parents and potentially 4 grandparents. And so the burden is becoming enormous. And you know, as the population is aging, it is becoming a crisis proportions. By 2030, the population age 60 and above is going to grow by 100 million people. 100 million in the next 15 years. And so China's in seeming crisis. And this particular group that we encounter, and I believe there are probably others, they're out looking for people to help them understand how to run senior housing in China. And take some Western principles and apply it in China, which is definitely an apples and oranges proposition. The culture is so different than what we're familiar with. So China, we went to Chongqing, pointer here, right here, central China. Oops.
We saw one Caucasian in the entire week we were there.
So we're in central China, and literally, and there were 4 of us that went. One of our group was Chinese, had been in the States for 20 years. Tony, I, Charles, the other gentleman, were all kind of close-cropped hair, as we see today. So the Chinese were probably thinking, all the Caucasians have no hair. So here we are, you can't get any deeper in central China than Chongqing. The city of Chongqing is expected to grow by 10 million people. When you count the urban area around Chongqing, 33 million people in the city of Chongqing. Demographics are troubling as its workforce shrinks and the elderly population grows. By 2050, a third of the country's population will be over 60. 1/3 of 1.3 billion people, or whatever it's going to be in 2050. So, as Tony said, the silver tsunami. Drilling down further, this is actually the city of Chongqing, and right up here is the site that we were focusing on. The group that came in and introduced themselves to us and eventually invited us to come to China are proposing to build a senior housing facility at this location to house 22,000 seniors. And so as Tony and I are listening to this presentation, our property is a capacity of 110. And they're seeking our counsel, if you will, to run a facility of 22,000. And Tony and I are looking at each other, we're way over our heads. Yeah.
So I kind of leaned over. At one point I said to Rob, I said, over our heads. And then that's when we kind of brought in some other people. But when I was thinking about the size of that project, Healdsburg is about 10,500 people. And I kept thinking in my head as I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know how to build a city, because I'm thinking Healdsburg times 2. And I kept thinking about 110 at Healdsburg Senior Living, and how does that equate? So it was really interesting trying to wrap your head around that.
So this is just an overview of the site map of what they're planning to build. And so here, this is their architectural rendition of what they're trying to build.
Are those single stories?
No, everything in China I now know is vertical. And you can see a couple of pictures.
Except the private homes on, you can kind of see a sea of
Private homes on the waterfront, on this side and the other side, and then it goes into taller buildings from there. But this is about the lake was about 200 acres. Supposedly this is a 300-acre campsite. It did seem bigger than that as you're kind of moving around there, but it's pretty dense when you think of 22,000 people.
So, Tony, is this assisted living annually here?
We'll get to that. Yeah, good question. So this is an acute care hospital. This is assisted living, 3 towers to house 2,100 people. These are 34-story towers. Again, when we're thinking 22,000 compressed into this space, this is a shopping and community area, theater and so forth. This is a demonstration center. These are single-family homes, and it's a little, it's hard to understand because we're looking down on it. If we could see a horizontal view, it would be up with all vertical. Apparently the land has been donated by the government, and the group that we met with, the principal of that group, we're understanding has put in $300 million of his own money, and the entire project, they were tossing around a figure of $1.5 billion to build this. And even today, I can't get my head around how do you start that? Eat an elephant one bite at a time, type of thing. Again, acute care hospital up here, and they're asking us, well, do you have policy and procedures of how? 5 minutes. I'm sorry, how to run an acute care hospital? I have no clue how to do that. So we'll get on. Here we're on site, and these are some pictures of what's under development. So this was in October when we're there. And interestingly enough, all of us have seen construction here in the U.S. and there's survey tags all over the place. There's all kinds of different layers of approvals to do different things. We're not seeing any survey tags. I don't know if there's soil compaction. I don't know how these things are done. The Chinese build very, very fast.
Here they're just putting in full-grown trees that'll create, kind of a nice drive as you're coming in. There's actually 2 areas.
So this is all construction that's happening as we're there. They're moving earth around. Interestingly enough, as dump trucks are taking dirt off site, it looked as though they were paying the drivers for each load they took off. And so I don't know if it was an independent situation, if you had a dump truck just show up and grab a load and you can get paid.
It was very surreal, though. I mean, you're looking at the project here, and then you
Get over there and being on the ground, we're like, we're in China. We're in China, and you see dump trucks and all this. I mean, the reality was we're right in the middle of this project now, and it kind of blew our minds. It's hard to take all of it. So this is kind of what was an old Buddhist temple up on the top of the hill, which we're going to restore. That'll look down over the whole project here. And there's kind of a hiking path that brings you around for the residents. Yeah, this is considered a suburb. You see a lot of farmland out here. It's about 30 kilometers out of Chongqing, so it's what they would consider rural. This is my best friend that's actually helping to head up the project, because Bob and I have full-time jobs, so it's a big undertaking. But he is, we've known each other since we were 16. He quit his job with 22 years in Portland to head this up. This is the famous hot pot, which if we ever saw that, if we didn't see that one more time in our lives, we'd be completely happy. The food you know, Rob's vegetarian, he ate everything, you know, that
I tried to.
but there were things that we couldn't even identify, and the things you could, you weren't sure you wanted to even try. But we tried everything. We were very gracious. They were very gracious. But the food was a real challenge to get down at times. This is a clinic. They took us through a tour here. This place sees 10,000 patients a day, everything from pediatrics to geriatrics and everything in between. It's all done there. Literally, you're walking through a place, I'm like, can we get out of here? There's like 10,000 sick people around you with every disease and every contagious. And I asked the nurse, I said, why are these people here? What is the biggest, I didn't know if it was typhoid fever or bird flu, or what is the main reason people are coming to this clinic? And she said it was related to indigestion. And they were like, hot pot. This is every place you would go. There was like a station to get a ticket to go stand in line. At another place to get a ticket to stand in line. It literally takes all day. So you take the whole day off. You get there, wait outside in the morning, get in, and then just start waiting in line to get through the whole process. This is a meeting room. We spent days in this room. It looks out over Shaanxi, the river there. The reason why we put this there, the picture in the background is actually the model for the home. So you can see they want a very Western look, and we thought that was very interesting. Contrary to what some people may think because of the media, they're very fascinated with the West. They love the West. They want to get their money here. They want to get their family here. This is the view from the boardroom that we were in that we spent many, many hours. And I would look out at this sometimes and I would think, how am I here? It just seems surreal to me. Yeah, but this is what you see wherever you look, in all directions. It's all towers. Everything is built up. This was our presentation, every lunch and every dinner. That's actually a massive table. It's huge. And there's some of the food items there. But it was amazing. It was a great situation. There were many toasts. Rob doesn't drink, so I had to take one for the team every single night. And everyone would come around and they would have you toast. So you didn't just, that's the CEO of the company there. So we did things in small samples. This is the nurse that took us to the clinic. She was really nice and the only person that seemed to appreciate red wine there. So we had a nice class together. We were out kind of in a marketplace, and this is squid and some kind of cockroach type thing, and some shrimp stuff, and that literally went on for miles. A little westernized here with the Starbucks and the Subway. Rob was on a mission to get to that Starbucks, but we didn't. But this is actually a new building that they just had made look a little bit older. This is after we come up with our consulting agreement, and it was a week later, and it was grueling. The whole week was, I say it taxed my brain in every way imaginable. We were, they wanted to hire us. They wanted us to quit our jobs and move to Shaanxi for the next 5 years and oversee this project. And there's just no way. We're so dedicated to Healdsburg Senior Living and what we're doing there. But we thought if we could come up with an arrangement where we could help them and still do what we do here. And so we made a presentation that turned out that it would work for them. And actually, I'm flying down to Orange County this weekend. The owner, the CEO of the company, he actually has a home in Diamond Bar. And so Chuck, the tall guy to the left there, and I are flying down to meet with them and take them around some senior living properties. So I haven't been back to China. I probably won't go till May. That's when they open what's called the Demonstration Center, which is 55,000 square feet. In China, they don't understand senior services, like how to provide the care. They used to do it in the home, and then they broke the family structure with the one-child rule in 1979. So they have all these seniors and no one to care for them. But they don't understand care facilities because they don't exist like this in China. So it's one of those situations where you've got, a population of people that need to be, you have to demonstrate to them what care looks like transferring people and Hoyer lifts and all the way to the hospital. So they want a demonstration center where you take everyone through every single step of the way. When we tour our buildings, we just take them through and they see a cruise ship on the land and everyone says, oh, this is great. They've got to see the very specific steps. This is, I just made a couple of pictures. This is at the Temple of Heaven, which is the highest point of spiritual in China. This is on the Great Wall. I took a couple extra days and kind of ran around Beijing and saw some things. Rob came back early because he had to mend the store, mind the store. This is Tiananmen Square, which is just a weird feeling standing there knowing that over 5,000 people, died protesting there. It's kind of a weird feeling just knowing that history.
And for the last slide, it was a really grueling schedule at the end of the long day.
I didn't know that one was in there. So I know we kind of went through quick. I mean, the trip, there's so much more to the trip, but I don't know if we have time for questions or not. Is there a few minutes for questions?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sure we missed a lot there. So, Rebecca.
My question is, out of all this large complex with hundreds of thousands of people, there was the one hospital. How did they...
It's a 300-bed hospital and 300 bed. So they think it'll accommodate the residents there, and it's actually to support the community around. So it'll be, again, pediatrics through geriatrics. They do it all.
So their hospital stays are shorter than ours?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they don't feed you in the hospital. Families bring the food to you. And they don't do your laundry in the hospital. They actually wash it in the tub and they hang it outside the window. There's kind of a little area. It's really interesting setup there. And no hand sanitizer anywhere.
Any statistics on the memory, dementia care and all that? Are they conscious about that?
We believe they're trying to incorporate a dementia care into the campus, but I don't have the statistics on what the demographics of that are.
And again, there's no regs in China. So we know RCFU regs, if we're in the industry, or kind of have some guidelines with it. So the only reason people have to be in a memory care in the U.S. is if you have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia, in most states. So if that's not the requirement there, really your only issue is the wander potential risk, not whether someone has cognitive impairment to the point they need to be in a memory care. So what that looks like in China may look very different than here. And those are the type of things we have to work through as we're developing the property and advising and just kind of look at all the particulars. Yeah.
How are they kind of coming to terms with the fact that they're going to put 22,000 elders in one area, and we have a model where you have 100 people, 50 people, 200 people, and it's spread out throughout the community so that people can have their loved ones close to them. You're really isolating them in an area, and I mean, it seems like they're just going to...
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the pictures that isn't in here shows there's a lot of parks at the Temple of Heaven we're at. I mean, it was acres and acres and acres of park, and it was all older adults. It was just during the day, like a work day, all older adults with little kids about this big. They're going to have a nursery there, so the kids will be there going to the nursery school, and then the grandparents will come and get them, and there's going to be a water park there for the kids. All of the homes and the assisted living rooms are like 4 and 5 bedroom. How many square feet? They're homes. The assisted living towers, the rooms will be like big condos, 2-story. And so it's designed for families to come. There's a rail system that gets out there in 20 minutes or something like that. So there's a high-speed rail that's in place. So they're all about family and bringing family together, and we love that. The thing that's also interesting is working at a senior living property, you hear a lot of ambulances coming, some days more than others, but imagine 22,000 old people. They've designed it so the ambulances, there's over 1 million square feet of underground tunnels. So the ambulances will come underground, you will take the person to a certain location, the ambulance comes up full-size, ambulance-sized elevator, the person goes in underground and taken away, and they're using green-friendly golf carts on the campus, so no cars. So I thought that was interesting.
What are they doing for people who have no families? Elders who have no
Yeah, the income requirements for this property are 1.5 million and more. So there's a lot of poor people in China, but there's a lot of wealth also. In this area, I figure there are several 100,000 people that are able to have the money for this. We did talk about one of the things, some people may have seen the article in the paper, an article came out a couple of weeks ago, but we were talking about how to give services, because in China everything is kind of robotic. I mean, if someone tells you something to do, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it perfect. It's like your supervisor told you. And so you can kind of picture what would caregiving look like. It'd be like, here's your pill, okay, we helped you with your shower. I mean, that's a little bit of exaggeration, but they don't, in a home setting, it's very different. You put somebody in, a 22,000 potential institution type setting. And so we talked a lot about the touchy-feely because, there's a lot of talk about business and design, but it's about meaningful care. And I said, you can't just give someone a pill and say, there's your pill. I gave an example where I rubbed the person's shoulder next to me. You can't just give somebody a shower, like, okay, done with the shower, check that off. And we talked about, we literally have to change the culture in China in this setting so it doesn't feel robotic. But the advantage is, imagine training your staff from day one that that's just part of the culture. Purpose, value, contribution, those are our values. And then you integrate that with the care, the activities, and nutrition, that whole circle is complete when you start the project. And you're not trying to come down from corporate or up or wherever, all these different ways that we get to actually teach from the very beginning. And for a person, doing what we're doing, that's very exciting to be able to be on that level. Because you're advising, like, this is how it's going to work, supposedly.
You can set the culture, though.
What's that?
You're setting the culture, in a sense, with our values.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that Tifa Snow is coming to town next week, and I'm going to her, free one day. I wonder if someone like her could be brought into the project where that could be part of the training, is for dementia care and for bringing more of the love into it, more of the caring into it.
Yeah, they would run out of the room if Tifa Snow wasn't there. That would blow their mind. They would be like, she's so over the top. But
Things like that. So.
Listen, who are we to do this kind of project in China? Honestly, it is so ambitious and it's crazy to be involved. There's going to be other people involved with this because this is more than what we can do.
I'm just curious, what is the typical care today for the seniors, elder population?
There is some skilled nursing. We actually toured another building. It was a 7-story complex. There were 4 towers. I'm not sure of the capacity, but it was just maybe 10% utilized. And it looked as though their intent was the same as the project that we've been showing, but they just didn't pull it off. They didn't have the right, leadership, for lack of a better term, to know how to operate it to its advantage. And so it's built. It's been built, how old was it? I think about 3 years. And it just was sort of sitting there and languishing and not really utilized. And so the vision of the CEO of this group is to make a global statement of caring for elders in China and try and get ahead of the need. They're sort of behind now, and develop something that may be utilized in other countries that are experiencing some of the same growth. But they just don't have a program. When we first met with them, or the second time we met with them, it literally looked as though they wanted to write down a how-to. The gal had a pencil, she was ready to write. If we could regurgitate 9,000 pages of how to run a senior care facility, she probably would have written it down as a recipe and formula to take back home and go, I just need to start at page 1 and go through.
How are they going to deal with the need for employees, doctors and nurses and caregivers and those kind of sounds? It sounds like there's so few workers, that there's so many people aging.
There's a lot of workers. They just don't have the female population. There'll be more caregivers that are males, more nurses that are males. No, there's plenty of workers there.
Okay.
That's not the issue. It's the people. It's the family structure. There's one female for every 10 men. So it just has really changed the dynamics. Yes.
I have a bit of a concern if they are imitating our system. Are they also incorporating Western medicine philosophy and leaving behind the Chinese history of medical care and the theories that go with that?
We didn't really get into that, so honestly, I don't know. I mean, at the hospital and the clinic, it seems very westernized and it seems very updated. We saw some equipment in the facility that Rob was describing that looked pretty archaic, something from like the early 70s. Yes. Yes, it's all private pay. The land, so what's happened is that the government doesn't know how to deal with this aging population. So what they're doing is they're giving incentives to the private sector to try to help with it. So this project, the land, we've heard that the land was donated, the lake is donated. They're going to get a break on utilities and taxes and things like that. Yes.
The culture has been the 421 system. Do you think that's going to be detrimental to the cultural mindset? I can't put my parents in this facility.
Yeah, we ask all these questions because it looks good. Like that would be an amazing place if you lived in China. If you look at all those towers and where a lot of people live, it's luxury living. People want to own, and you're going to own your homes and your senior living properties. I mean, so that's important for them to own something. But placing is a whole new concept, and they think they have the people that want to live there. So, I mean...
Well, if you can incorporate different generations, the kids within the site, things like that, I mean, it's proven that youthful people help keep them alert and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see 5 years down the road.
Yes. Maybe one more question.
Are they living as long as, what is their average?
Yeah, they live as long as they're starting to have the diabetes and Alzheimer's. As the Western influence, you see McDonald's here and there. It was interesting. We did go to a mall area, and I mean, it looks opulent. The mall was just so beautiful. Nobody in it. Nobody has the money to even spend in a place like that. So a lot of things in China are for show, and towers are built, GDP numbers are, falsified to show growth. I mean, the whole economy, a lot of people are trying to say the economy's built on a false economy. That's why they want to get their money out. We heard stories about my taxi drivers, and that people are strapping like $20,000 to each leg and trying to get across the border and get it to, other countries to get the money out of China. So it'll be interesting to see. You've got this project that's obviously, $1.5 billion, and where's the economy really going, and does it all just come to a halt? I saw somebody, was the gatekeeper?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. I don't think I could go just because of the food. Please take a moment and fill the green slips out in the center of your table if you haven't done that already. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing your trip with us, insights into the different culture that we know nothing about, basically. So thank you very much. And please remember to take all of your brochures and things, because what doesn't leave with you ends up going in the trash, and they cost too much to do that. So please take your things with you. More years, more wisdom. Learn all you can from those you serve, so that we have that wisdom when we get there. Have a great day. See you next time.